22 News first told you in September about a plan to resettle more than 50 refugees in Northampton. And we now know that is just a fraction of how many refugees will be moving into Massachusetts this year. 22 News I-Team reporter Tamara Sakarzik dug deeper into the story and uncovered that a disproportionate number are being resettled here in western Massachusetts.
Last year, more than 100 Syrian refugees resettled in Massachusetts. The 22 News I-Team uncovered that we're paying for it, and none of them are being placed in eastern Massachusetts.
I took my family and I ran away because everywhere you look there's blood, everywhere you look there are people who are crying.
It's been 3 years since Ahmed has heard the sounds of civil war in Syria.
I still can't hear that noise in my head, the bombing, the crying.
Ahmed didn't want to reveal his identity but used an interpreter to tell his story. In 2013, he left Syria with his wife and children to escape the civil war. Ahmed is one of thousands of Syrian refugees that have resettled in the United States, including more than 12,500 in the last year. At least 113 of those Syrian refugees resettled in Massachusetts. Over the past year, 55 of the 113 Syrian refugees resettled in western Massachusetts, 33 in central Mass, 43 in Merrimack Valley, and 0 in eastern Mass. And more are coming. How many refugees are expected to resettle in western Massachusetts this year?
Somewhere around 600.
Catherine Buckley Brown, the executive director of Catholic Charities, will help 51 Syrian refugees resettle in Northampton this year. Before a Syrian refugee can even step foot in the United States, they must go through a series of background checks, which includes in-person interviews and having their names checked against a federal terrorism database. That entire process can take between 1 and 2 years. When choosing where the refugees resettle, do the residents in the communities have any say in that process?
To say that residents don't have a say in it would be to say that they have no voice in their own government, and that simply isn't true. However, the Department of State really is the one that has the ultimate authority.
There's nothing residents, local, or even state lawmakers can do to prevent refugees from resettling in their city or town. And taking in refugees costs us, the taxpayers, more than $1 billion each year.
When refugees arrive, they receive $1,125 a person. And that's what they receive. That comes from the federal government. Cash assistance that they receive then has to do with the public benefits that they would be eligible for.
Refugees are expected to support themselves after 8 months of living in the U.S. 70% of refugees in Massachusetts got a job in 2015. Some Americans have said that they're worried allowing more refugees in the U.S. could be dangerous.
Coming from the situation he came from, he never wants anybody to experience what he experienced. He never want to hear that there was a bullet coming out or killing anybody, or a mom crying because she lost her kids.
The I-Team discovered that the state considers public transportation, employment opportunities, and cost of housing when placing refugees. They also look at which local resettlement agencies have the resources necessary to accommodate the refugees during the resettlement process. That includes translators to help them communicate. I'm Tamara Sakarzik, working for you with the 22 News I-Team.